Very good evening and welcome to UBC News Tonight, today at 10 p.m. My name is Sharon Chomdesha. We start off with President Yoweri Museveni, who has challenged authorities of the Uganda Prison Service to make use of the recruited engineers for development of essential infrastructures. Museveni says by doing so, social and economic amenities, including housing, will be affordably constructed, hence minimizing wastage of public resources. Take a look.
After months of perseverance, weeks of endurance, and days of firmness, the time for them to officially serve finally came. The morale with which they marched to the parade grounds speaks volumes. But what could have been their motivation towards successfully reaching this day? The secret is in one word: commitment. To see for himself this kind of commitment was President Yoweri Museveni. Museveni, who inspected the guards upon arrival, was impressed. He appealed for healthy living and patriotism.
You need to be healthy, and you need to avoid all elements that destroy health. Number two, knowledge. The knowledge you have got here, and the knowledge you will get in more training, and the knowledge you will get through reading. And then finally, patriotism.
It is this similar patriotism that Museveni wants the prison service to interest the newly recruited engineers into embracing.
Why don't you use the engineers whom you have to build your own barracks and offices, so that the only expenditure is on materials? Because remember, when we involve so-called private sector, I really don't want to hear private sector in the armed forces. Private sector doing what? You have engineers, they know how to build. What they need is materials.
Of the just passed out cadets, 9 are engineers, 5 are medical personnel, while 16 are agricultural officers. The Commissioner General Uganda Prison Service, Dr. Johnson Wiabashaija, says this is a big boost to the prison's engineering department.
We are building in Amolata. It is a general offensive against congestion, as you guided, Your Excellency. Over the last few months, we have reduced congestion by 10%, from 372% to 362%.
So, if you have this engineer, why don't you pay her or him well? Because we need him, we need her now. Yes, the historian will also be paid when we have enough money to pay both the one we need immediately and this literature man, Yoweri Museveni, who knows what Shakespeare said, who knows what. Okay, thank you very much. You are very clever. You can remember. But we want a building. We don't want Shakespeare.
The pass out of these new prisons officers comes in the wake of terrorism threats that the country has recently witnessed. Museveni wants fingerprinting of all guns and embracing of electronic number plates.
But I hear somehow they did not include the army. But why not the army? I have directed that all the army guns must be fingerprinted like all the others were fingerprinted. They can be kept separately, maybe under military police, but they should be fingerprinted. Every gun should be fingerprinted. Now I am insisting on the issue of the electronic number plates. That will be a very big blow to crime, because most of the people move to and from the scene of crime by either vehicle or a border.
As for the Minister of Internal Affairs, Major General Kahinda Otafire, it is high time armed forces were separated from civil service, something Museveni agrees with.
We have agreed with my colleagues that we should rewrite the modus operandi and operational procedures and habituation for the police and the prisoners. These are armed services. They are not traditional civil servants, because now a police officer can go away and you can't charge him with desertion. He can't be at war. The police officer can go away and take leave without pay. Now how do you maintain command and control of prison officers and police officers, armed people who are dealing with national security, being treated as ordinary civil servants?
But definitely the police and prisons are not civil service. But this is part of the colonial hangover, which we still have. We have got so many things which I just watch, and even if I don't act, but you can see that there is something funny. So I'm glad that you have noticed this one, and we definitely will take it up. They are definitely part of the armed forces.
The newly passed out prisons officers have been told to embrace responsible lifestyles.
I would urge you to continue correcting them as they go out in the field. Don't be too fast to condemn them. Mold them into the officers that you want them to be. In short, I would say take them under your wing and be their mentors as they come to you.
They are 2,234 in number, including Cadet Assistant Superintendent of Prisons, Cadet Principal Officers, as well as warders and wardresses. Henry Okrut, UBC.
The First Lady and Minister of Education and Sports, Janet Museveni, has met and held discussions with a delegation from Planet One Group, which is a global and diversified organization interested in investing in Uganda's education sector. The 5-man team from Planet One Group, led by its founder and chairman, Sanjeev Mansotro, called on the First Lady at State House, Nakasero, and were accompanied by Andrew Mwenda, founder and managing director of the Independent Publications Limited. During the meeting, Planet One Group's delegation presented a detailed proposal of holistic education transformation that they would like to implement in Uganda. They particularly desire to focus on technical and vocational education training and the science, technology, engineering and mathematics schools. Their approach involves the organization mobilizing funds internationally, which it uses to support infrastructure development and transport, tools and equipment, curriculum alignment, content and courseware, teacher capacity building, and training and technology solutions. Government is expected to pay back the funds over a period of 15 to 18 years at a low interest rate of about 1.5%. Janet Museveni welcomed Planet One's proposal, saying it is something that the country needs, and she said many TVET institutes across the country still lack hands-on trained personnel, and what is urgently required is the training of the instructors and equipping of the institutes. She, however, pointed out the need for the Ministry of Education to first conduct a technical assessment on the specific needs in the STEM and TVET fields and the course implication and the scope and scale of the work that the Planet One Group could undertake to build, equip and scale. Away from that, Chief Justice Alfonso Winnie-Dolo has voiced concerns about parents neglecting their responsibilities by allowing their children to be raised by social media. He conveyed this message while presiding over the launch of the book titled The Naked Truth, authored by Dr. Pius Bigirimana, the Secretary to the Judiciary. During the book launch, Dr. Pius Bigirimana and GBC Senior Administrator Elizabeth Bigirimana celebrated the Silver Jubilee in marriage. Details for that.
2, 1.
The Chief Justice Alfonso Winnie-Dolo has commended Dr. Pius Bigirimana, the author of the book titled The Naked Truth, for impacting knowledge about family values to the public.
System thinking implies holistic view of the diverse situations in marriage. It embraces the long-term view of life and seeks to postpone immediate gratification in order to ensure lasting benefits. This is a fitting antidote to the instant coffee, microwave, get-it-quick tendencies of this modern-day technology.
He however expressed apprehension about parents who have shrunk their duties towards their children, leaving them to be influenced by the digital world.
The internet and what have you, it is children teaching children. It's not adults, it's not elders disseminating knowledge, disseminating experience to the young. What type of learning is that? It's like you go to a classroom and you learn from one another and prepare for exams.
Dr. Pius Bigirimana, the book author, shared the motivation behind his writing during the launch.
After all these years, I'm not an amateur in marriage, so I can counsel. And this experience has served me very well and broadened my understanding of family life and how homes should work. With more than 35 years of experience, more than half of which have put me in contact with recurrent human resource difficulties associated with people's homes. I have counseled families, people at the brink of collapsing and separating and bringing them together.
The book launch coincided with a Silver Jubilee celebration of Pius Bigirimana and Elizabeth Bigirimana's marriage. A special mass for the Jubilee was held at Christ the King Church in Kampala, presided over by Bishop Robert Muhaire Akik of Fort Portal Diocese.
It is a love that calls of us to be patient with one another, even when we have wronged each other, to be able to forgive and begin anew. And this will give us peace of mind and heart. But if we keep a score of wrong, we keep injuring each other.
Bishop Muhaire emphasized the importance of cultivating a God-fearing family.
The Holy Father is advising us to respect, to strive to learn from the older people, our parents, because they have a lot to teach us. It may not be so much intellectual, but they have experiential knowledge.
The couple expressed their gratitude to God for the journey of their marriage, while friends and children shared their sentiments about the celebrants.
Today's mad rush for material wealth, fame, powerful careers, and the rather simple idea of having fun have introduced a certain type of attitude and behavior in society. This attitude and behavior, when embraced in full, can be counterproductive to the safe conduct of marriage. More frequently than not, marriage calls for self-sacrifice, preferring the needs and desires of others, and swallowing one's pride and ego.
I can't forget sincerely to appreciate our judiciary and UBC families for being to us a home from home. Many of you here and out there know my husband as a tough, hard-working boss. To his family, we know him as a caring, romantic.
Notable figures in attendance included Imeutas Chief Justice Batka Trey Magunda, Principal Judge Dr. Flavian Nzeija, Director of Public Prosecutions Lady Justice Jane Francis Sabodo, Chief Registrar Sarah Langasiu, judges among other dignitaries.
Years have come and gone. You two have always had each other through the highs and lows. The greatest gift you've given us is the love that you've shared upon us.
We think our country and the world would be in the next 25 years. If only we adopt a similar mindset, I'm very sure that we can make an impact.
Deborah Namamonde, Suzanne Nabogudde, UBC News.
The Minister for Local Government, Raphael Majezi, has said that no Turkana pastoralists will be allowed to graze their livestock in Uganda until they produce culprits who murdered 3 geologists and the UPDF soldiers in Lotisan Sub-County, Morato District last year. Majezi was representing President Yoweri Museveni at a Karamoja cultural event held in Napak District, where he also handed over the President's contribution of 50 million Ugandan shillings towards the event.
A one-week annual Karamoja cultural event in Matani Town Council Park District has ended. The 8th edition was organized under the theme Preserving Our Cultural Identity and Diversity for Dignified, Peaceful and Resilient Future. The annual cultural event brought together all Ateker ethnic groups like the Karamojong, the Jai of Uganda, Turkana of Kenya, Nyamatom of Ethiopia, and Topasa of South Sudan. The tribes celebrated the traditional dances, food, and dress code, among others. The government of Uganda was represented by the Minister for Local Government, Raphael Majezi, who delivered the President's message and a contribution of 50 million shillings towards the cultural event.
50 million shillings. I'm handing you over to the chairman, organizing committee.
President Museveni explained that no Turkana pastoralists from Kenya will be allowed to graze from Uganda until they produce the culprits who murdered the 3 geologists and the 2 UPDF soldiers in Lotisan Sub-County, Morato District. It should be remembered that 2 guns of fallen soldiers were later handed over to the Ugandan security in Lioma, Turkana County.
His Excellency is telling the people of Turkana that you will not be allowed back unless you bring here the people who killed our geologists.
The Karamojong want the annual event to be fully sponsored by government, which the minister promised to front. Majezi hailed the Karamojong for the rich culture and advised them to document it.
As far as I've seen other cultures, it is very probable that Karamoja will be having the most dynamic, the most unifying, the most vibrant culture, not only in Uganda but probably in Africa.
However, Karamoja parliamentary chairperson Remigio Achia says they want a clear strategy of peace and security in Karamoja in order to eradicate poverty.
A clear, consistent strategy of sustainable peace and security in Karamoja for the next 30 years.
The one-week cultural event was characterized by visiting of historical sites in Napak District, women engagement dialogues, youth, elders and crowd leaders dialogues, traditional games, Mr. and Mrs. Culture, cultural parade, and processions, among others. The function was attended by top security leaders in Karamoja, politicians, people from the 9 districts of Karamoja, Teso, Kenya, South Sudan, and Ethiopia.
The resident district commissioner Mbara Turiabajenyi, Emmanuel Katera, has praised the chief administrative officer and the district chairperson of Mbara district's local government for their flexibility in supporting government development projects. The RDC said that unlike in other areas, Mbara leaders embrace all government initiatives aimed at transforming communities.
Turiabajenyi was speaking at the inauguration ceremony for the construction of the Kashaka Girls Secondary School Stadium in Bubale Sub-County, Kashari South, Mbarara District.
But what do we mean by launching, and why should we have such a ceremony? It is on such occasions that we explain to the beneficiary community, especially now youth students and the school management, NANI, Board of Governors and the rest, about one, we explain to the people the source of the money and the amount of money, and the project scope, and the duration that it is going to take, and the role of supervision, who is going to be supervising this work. I'm glad the district engineer is involved. I'm glad the school board of governors and the PTA is involved.
The playground project, with a total cost of 90 million shillings, saw a reduction in expenses from the initial budget of 137 million shillings, thanks to Mbarara District's contribution of machinery for levelling the playground. The headmistress of Kashaka Girls Secondary School, Mrs. Kabigumira Jolie, explained that the school had struggled with a waterlogged playground for many years, rendering it unstable for sports and games activities.
Like the chairman has called it, we're going to have Kashaka Girls Secondary School Stadium. We're going to have a pavilion put up in place and a sitting place that is going to cater for the spectators. So it is going to be and we shall also include very many other pitches, the basketball, the volleyball, the netball, and all the rest.
Mbarara District Chairperson Tabaro Didas assured the school students that they would benefit greatly from the playground.
Cow said that for you might not benefit. No, you are going to benefit because these machines are going to be here for the next 10 days. That means in the few months this facility is going to be ready. So you are going to benefit. Those who are not going to benefit are those who are going to misbehave and the head teacher fires them. Yeah? So if you want to benefit, just be good-mannered. Be well-disciplined, remain in school. And even you who are talented, there is no way we shall identify you when you are not in school. So please, young girls, remain in school. Avoid peer pressure. This one has done that. This one has got an iPhone. And it also takes your brains away. Me, I am a chairman. I don't have an iPhone. Am I not a big man?
The Chief Administrative Officer, Mbarara District, Muhwezi David, emphasized that the district, with improved playgrounds like Kashaka Girls Secondary School, would allocate sports and games activities to such facilities, thereby boosting the local economy. Kashaka Girls Secondary School has an enrollment of 1,200 students, which has been credited with improved academic performance and exemplary discipline.
A trend of selling of property, notably land, for quick cash has left many residents of Katonga, Mpigi District, a sad situation. This has prompted Mpigi District National Resistance Movement Chairperson Nagamba Hood to advise residents to steer clear of political divisions and work together to address their challenges.
During the official opening ceremony of the Kelite Development Group in Nabyewanga Village, Mpigi District, concerned residents appealed to government for assistance in dealing with wealthy individuals who have become a source of trouble, leading to evictions from their ancestral lands. These residents emphasized their significant contributions, particularly during the Katonga River conflict, in support of the government's struggle for power and requested corresponding support in return. NRM Mpigi District Chairperson Nagamba Hood pledged to convey the residents' grievances to the relevant authorities.
Ayogedde ku nsonga z'okugobebwa ku ttaka njagala obbakakasa nti ensonga zino zonna ze muntumye ngenda zituusa.
He cautioned them against selling properties hastily for quick financial gains and urged the residents to foster unity as there are forces attempting to divide them, which he deemed detrimental to their collective well-being. The chairman of the Kelite Development Group, Kasita Joseph, elucidated the group's objectives and challenges, lamenting the encroachment of wealthy individuals.
I appeal to the government that as we hear that the government putting money onto different youth development group through ONC, let's also our group be considered such that you can also benefit from our country. Challenge, we are unemployed, and you cannot feed an empty stomach.
The principal Joanette Schools, which specializes in vocational training, expressed their commitment to helping youth and curbing crime in the region.
A proposal has been mooted for a creation of an environment protection force under the National Environment Management Authority. The Executive Director of NEMA, Dr. Kankwasa Barirega, says that the police unit dedicated for the task is susceptible to being compromised without being answerable. This measure is in the face of the increased pollution of Lake Victoria, worsened by the disappearing wetlands to fill to the west.
Lake Victoria, apart from being the source of River Nile, remains the second largest freshwater lake in the world. However, her unequaled freshwaters have of recent suffered contamination from uncontrolled dumping of both effluent and solid waste. Unfortunately, this is happening under the watchful eye of technocrats charged with the core responsibility of protecting the water source. A tour of Port Bell in Luzira, a Kampala suburb, is indicative of how settlements around the shores of Lake Victoria have nothing valuable to offer.
People who live near the lakes, instead of treating their waste, they create underground hidden pipes which take the wastewater especially into the lake. Some even have the audacity of opening their wastewater channels when it rains, when nobody is seeing. You just open, and when the rain stops, the flow has also stopped, so you will never know that somebody is actually causing mayhem.
Unattended to waste from the central business district, somehow through a major channel like Nachivubo, is washed down into the lake. This, coupled with industrial effluent, makes Kampala a lead polluter of the water body. Professor Godfrey Kamese, an environmentalist, says manufacturers of plastics should be held responsible for the pollutants, and where they fail, they pay the price.
Companies like Coca-Cola, companies like Pepsi-Cola, companies like Lavanda, whichever it is, are relaxed because they know it is everybody's pollution kind of concern. But when we attribute them to specific institutions, then in them the sleeping heart begins to wake up, and they begin thinking of also contributing to the management of their waste, because this is their waste. They're saying that plastics do not pollute, but it is people. But what have you done to make sure that the people that pollute change the way they behave? The pollution of these companies end up into Lake Victoria.
A blame for the direct and increased pollution of the lake is partly apportioned to the inability of the wetlands to filter out the waste.
And to make it even worse, the urban authorities have resorted to channeling. You've heard about Nachivubo channel. So channeling is a very dangerous thing. We should not encourage replacement of wetland functions with channels, because channels increase water runoff to the lake, and the water runoff is not managed along the way. So it picks all the pollutants and delivers them to the water in the rivers and lakes, and that affects the lake life, the fisheries, the underwater biodiversity, the water quality, and related matters.
It is clear to the regulatory body, the National Environmental Management Authority, that the wetlands are on a disappearing overdrive.
We have isolated cases which we have identified, and normally when we identify them,
we punish them. The president has given us full support. Even industrial parks where the industries have not been built already, we should not allow them. So effective 2nd September 2021, we suspended any further permitting of any activities in wetlands. And our enforcement teams are on the ground. And we are, I think, in my view, despite the challenges, we are on track to ensuring that we arrest the situation before it becomes a crisis.
The Commissioner in charge of Water Resources and Planning at the Ministry of Water and Environment, Dr. Kalist Tindimgaya, says non-compliance by the population has exacerbated the uncontrolled dumping.
Before you dump, you should have an environmental impact assessment certificate. Now, if you have it and you are dumping, legally you're authorized, but then one will say, who issued it? So let people produce those environmental impact assessment certificates to prove that they have been cleared. If they have been cleared, then we deal with the person who actually issued it.
Sensitization of the population may sound a cliche, but the environmental regulator has banked on it, hoping it could even lead to restoration, notwithstanding all manner of pressures. A proposed Environment Protection Force is envisaged to enforce adherence. Police have a unit dedicated to matters environment, but these are accused of failing to match the call.
But we have environment police that reports to the IGP. You can't penalize them as a ministry. So that's why I've said let's have our own force. The force that you can control, the force that you can penalize, the force you can sack if they don't do what is expected to do.
Dr. Akankwasa Barirega, the NEMA Executive Director, believes this will not only harmonize operations, but create an avenue of holding errant officers.
Like the Ranger Force for UWA, where there is full accountability. If you pick a bribe, I should have power to fire you, not to return you to your parent institution.
But also having your own court, it means you have a judge who understands environmental laws, who understands a case. If you go to ordinary court now, they will ask you to prove beyond reasonable doubt that somebody is the one who has actually dumped. And obviously then they say, prove. Even when you saw them and you have a picture, they say, prove beyond reasonable doubt.
Environment cases are perishable. They are perishable. If somebody is encroaching in a wetland and a case is not sorted in 1 week, by end of 1 week you will not find the wetland. The wetland will be long gone. So environment cases are highly perishable. They cannot wait the normal judicial system, which can take up to 10 years. There are land cases which take 10 years to be resolved. So by 10 years, there will be no wetland to talk about.
One constant factor, though, is that this force might not be immune to accusations of targeting small fish while protecting big shots.
At one time, we were accused that we go after Mukene and we leave tilapia. But this is not true. I have always given these examples. We stopped Sudir Rupaleri at Chituburu. Is that a small fish?
All agree that there must be participation of all in society to reverse the trend by conserving more. Dr. Skimuno, UBC News.
Thank you so much, Dr. Skimono, for that report. In more stories, refugee children and those from the host communities are requesting for interventions from partners and through the Office of the Prime Minister to enhance feeding programs in refugee schools. Feeding is one of the many challenges that they face while learning. This was during a debate at Terego District organized by the development partners working in Rhino Camp Refugee Settlement under the Equitable Access to Quality and Transformation Education for Refugees and Host Communities with funding from European Union Humanitarian Aid.
The children's debate zeroed on the topic, quality education is the best gift to recover from crisis. Rehma, Lillian and Hope Frida are refugee learners from Supiri Primary School, both in Primary 7, said food challenges in the settlement are prompting many learners to drop out of school.
This food ration which is being cut is really affecting us, make us even to drop out from school. You may end up going to people's garden and household to get food to eat.
It affects actually in poor performance in class. You may sleep hungry, and hungry reach in morning time. You wake up early in the morning and you go to school. Now in school there's nothing like food. Even if it reaches to the time of lunch, you go home, you find nothing. Being hungry, you will not even concentrate, you will not even having that appetite of attending classes.
Flora Abao from Arias Primary School reveals that her school faces the same challenge as feeding support has been limited.
For us who are candidates, we go from 6 up to 6, but this duration from 6 up to 6, there is no water, there is no water.
Apart from poor feeding in schools, learners also identified inadequate support from parents, limited access to computers in the modern era, and poverty as other factors affecting learning.
You send your child to school knowing that the child needs pen, books, bag, uniform, but some of the parents, what they know is only feeding their stomach and drinking alcohol.
These challenges that we are getting to lead us to drop out from schools. Sometimes you may need to have school fees and there's no one who is capable for you.
Quality education is not just that education that you just say education, but I mean the education which is being advanced in the way it is being provided to learners.
They call for interventions from development partners and the Office of the Prime Minister to address some of these challenges.
Let them give us support so that we will have confidence in school.
I will request the government, the NGOs to provide pre-education and meal for us, mostly for us who are candidates.
If it will be lunch, it's okay, not even a breakfast, at least lunch. It can help the learners to concentrate on education.
So we need quality education by giving us computers that help us in doing proper research.
According to Mildred Ochokoro, a QUET project officer at Rural Initiative for Community Empowerment, RISE, the debate was organized with aims of letting children point out challenges that they face in school by themselves.
The Children's Parliament is an advocacy event. We know the QUET project is looking up to provision of quality education for the conflict-affected children and the host communities. But this has not been achieved fully. Our efforts still demand a lot to be done by the stakeholders. We have been engaging them at the school level to debate, to try to tell us. We don't want to talk for them. Well, we have seen some of the things, but we also wanted the children to be the ones to talk.
Patrick Akuku, Protection Officer at Community Empowerment for Development, SEFOD, noted that the provision of quality education is a right to every child that requires special attention from stakeholders.
Now, 63% of the refugees in Uganda are actually children, meaning that a lot of attention and focus needs to be given to children. We should also understand that access to basic education is a fundamental right to every child.
Godfrey Tako, Assistant Community Services Officer in charge of education at OPM, said most of these challenges are because of the reduced funding for refugee affairs.
We have seen because of COVID, there has been reduced funding and many partners are exiting the settlement, which affects access to school because the refugee community is still a very vulnerable community that needs more support. Many families have been categorized at level 3. That means at level 3 you don't access food at all. And this is affecting learning because children can't go to school with empty stomachs. For us to address these gaps, we are advocating that we will need more funding for the host districts from government, but we are also calling on partners to support us to make sure that a fundraising drive is carried out.
Joseph Odamam, UBC News.
To transport to the wrong person. Here's how to reverse it with MTN Mobile Money. Dial *165#. Select My Account. Select Initiate Reversal. You will see your last 3 transactions. Select the transaction you want to reverse enter your mobile money PIN and you'll get an SMS confirmation that the transaction has been blocked from being withdrawn. And that's it. Please note, only transactions that haven't been withdrawn can be reversed.
In this family, we can't agree on anything. Martha. We can't even agree on what to watch. All the games to play. Martha. Ndoza Mulabi, we can't even agree on what to eat. At least the one thing for now we can all agree on is the soap to use. He likes that it's big and lasts long. Anti-economy. I like that it keeps my skin smooth. Ate alina echovu. And the children like that. It smells amazing. Everyone is happy. Movit soap comes in 4 fantastic flavors. Movit family soap is truly soap for the whole family.
Movit. All day confidence.
There's also another program, which is the Uganda Women Entrepreneurship Program, WEP, where we have dispersed the funds to the women groups, and of which recovery for the WEP program is around 52%. And of recent, the district was given more funds. The president actually was the one who officiated it during Women's Day on the 8th of March in Chirihura district, where we got an additional 132 million shillings to be given to the youth groups for good performance. But previously we had over 600 million shillings on top of that, and so far so good. That group is very organized actually for the women.
The President of the Republic of Uganda, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, will officially launch West International Holdings Uganda, a groundbreaking cement plant in Moroto, Karamoja, on Tuesday, 12 September 2023. The $300 million project will produce over 6,000 tons per day, with first clinker expected mid-2025. This project is to bring cost-effective and environmentally sound modern production capacity to Uganda, transforming into a regional clinker and cement production hub, supporting the future development of not only Uganda, but also Southern Sudan and Eastern DRC with value addition inside East African community. This project will eliminate Uganda's dependence on imported clinker with local manufacturing. All guests are required to test for COVID-19 before the D-Day.
Uncle, you should see London.
Oh, my boy. It has been 5 years. You should see Uganda.
Yes. Uncle Marcus, huh? This is my former school.
See, soon there will be more than 1 million children learning like this for free.
This is impressive. Do you even have connection out here?
Well, we have 100% 4G countrywide.
Okay.
We even have 5G too.
That's approximately 700 billion Uganda shillings in tax, making Airtel one of the largest corporate income taxpayers over the last 5 years, helping build a better Uganda.
Today your son saw our new Uganda.
Thank you, Uganda, for imagining it with us and making us the fastest growing telecom in the country over the past 5 years.
Uganda is a source, transit, and destination for adults and children who are either forced or deceived into forced labor, organ harvest, sacrifice, and commercial exploitation. Trafficking in persons is a serious crime and gross violation of human rights. Report suspects of trafficking in persons to police for investigation and prosecution. Suspects are either close friends or relatives. Victims of trafficking are not criminals and need protection. This message is brought to you by the Coordination Office for Prevention of Trafficking in Persons, Ministry of Internal Affairs.
Are
Are you tired of high fees and slow transfer time when sending money? Airtel Money is here to revolutionize the way you move your money. We have revised our rates Pakaku ground. Sending money from Airtel to other networks in Uganda, East Africa, and to the rest of the world has never been more affordable. Dial *185# and start sending money. Switch to Airtel Money today and experience unbeatable rates and top-notch services for all your local and international money transfer needs. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Welcome back from that short commercial break. In our business stories, Compassion International, through its Kampala Cluster A, has organized a skills exhibition at which learners benefited various hands-on skills. It was hosted at Multitech Business School in Kachiri and attended by participants from Makiso Mutiana and Kampala.
A non-profit-making organization, Compassion International, has organized the Kampala Cluster A Skills Livelihood Exhibition at Multitech Business School in Kakiri.
Our core business is to help children who are born and raised in circumstances of need. So we go by, we release children from poverty in Jesus' name. But we partner with churches. So today specifically, in this one which we call Kampala Cluster A, we have 12 churches that have been working together over the years, training and equipping young people with skills beyond the class, the academic work. Each one of our participants is able to gain a skill. And so today it's an exhibition in which we are showcasing the work, the different works that the young people have been involved in.
It has benefited more than 1,000 youth, including some from Caring Heart Breakthrough Community Church on Kagula Hill.
We are in a cluster of 11 projects, compassion assisted, in Wakiso, Mitiana and Kampala. We are teaching the children skills so that they can be tomorrow's entrepreneurs. Because through skilling, we can create youth and children who are entrepreneurs other than job seekers. That's what we are looking at, because the church is the foundation of everything happening in the nation. So we have to groom the youth and the children from childhood so that they can become well-fulfilled adults.
The participants exhibited various works like baking, carpentry, building, hairdressing, bricklaying, and tailoring.
It has helped me to know different skills of baking, icing the cake, and it has helped me another thing to develop my life, because I didn't know any skill in my life, but right now I can bake cakes, I can do snacks of every type, these crisps, daddies, bagia, sort of that, many snacks I can do.
Compassion International unites 482 churches in Uganda and benefits more than 142,000 children and youth participants in various projects. John Barnes, Sentamo, UBC News.
Moving on from that, we'll take a short commercial break and we'll be back with more news.
To transport to the wrong person. Here's how to reverse it with MTN Mobile Money. Dial *165#. Select My Account. Select Initiate Reversal. You will see your last 3 transactions. Select the transaction you want to reverse. Enter your mobile money PIN and you'll get an SMS confirmation that the transaction has been blocked from being withdrawn. And that's it. Please note, only transactions that haven't been withdrawn can be reversed.
The President of the Republic of Uganda, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, will officially launch West International Holdings Uganda, a groundbreaking cement plant in Moroto, Karamoja, on Tuesday, 12 September 2023. The $300 million project will produce over 6,000 tons per day, with first clinker expected mid-2025. This project is to bring cost-effective and environmentally sound modern production capacity to Uganda, transforming into a regional clinker and cement production hub, supporting the future development of not only Uganda, but also Southern Sudan and Eastern DRC with value addition inside East African Community. This project will eliminate Uganda's dependence on imported clinker with local manufacturing. All guests are required to test for COVID-19 before the D-Day.
Uncle, you should see London.
Oh, my boy. This has been 5 years. You should see Uganda.
Yes. Uncle Marcus, huh? This is my former school.
See, soon there will be more than 1 million children learning like this for free.
This is impressive. Do you even have connection out here?
Well, we have 100% 4G countrywide.
Okay.
We even have 5G too.
That's approximately 700 billion Uganda shillings in tax, making Airtel one of the largest corporate income taxpayers over the last 5 years, helping build a better Uganda.
Today your son saw our new Uganda.
Thank you, Uganda, for imagining it with us and making us the fastest growing telecom in the country over the past 5 years.
Welcome back to our last segment. In our sports stories today, the single-tone match play challenge continued to providing riveting action that climaxed with a tremendous 19th hole that many enjoyed. Our reporter watched the action and now reports.
Arguably Uganda's most prestigious amateur golf tournament, the single-tone match play challenge, is now down to the last 8 pairs. This after a round of 16 at the PA 71 Entebbe Golf Club that was followed by a fun-filled hole 19 experience.
As Singleton and UBL were excited to be part of it. You know, UBL's purpose is about celebrating life every day, everywhere. And for us, this is a big celebration for us with the Entebbe Golf Club. So we have had this tournament on for the last 6-7 years with Singleton headlining. And it's really important for us as a company that we support sports in Uganda. So another round of Singleton match they play, we're really excited on how it's gone. And I think what's exciting about today is also the theme that we have. So today is a retro theme on the 19th hole. So fantastic golf during the day, but also a fantastic experience on the 19th hole.
Action that included the main draw and a subsidiary category was spiced by a visiting delegation from Mombasa's Nyali Club.
We've come here with a group of friends for a golf tour. And today we decided to play here and we are really enjoying the course. It's an amazing, beautiful course. The trees, amazing, it's just amazing. And the fairways, wow.
In the main draw, Entebbe Club captain Serwa Nwalusimbi and Peter Magona edged Kenya High Commissioner to Uganda George Owino and Sarah Nduhukire.
It's not my best performance personally, but it's the hardest performance. We had to dig deep to get this win. These guys were not easy at all. They were not easy. It was really mental, and it was just really mental strength to put us through.
Also through to the next round include Michael Odu and Brian Mayimbo, Robert Businji and Innocent Nahabwe, and Richard Muchunguzi and Saidi Kirabira. Others are Joseph Bogera and Kenneth Kidu, Conrad Odera and Ram Shaban, Jimmy Adiga and Johnson Dairo, and Moses Sebogwao and Charles Odera.
It's been a tough round. I mean, I last played a couple of weeks back because of my work schedule. The team we were playing today was extremely tough because literally they were stroking on each hole, and we had to maximize our best shots really.
The date for the next round of this Uganda Breweries Limited sponsored championship that also has Uganda Airlines, NCBA Bank and DSTV as partners will be known later. John Barnes, Centamo, BBC News.
And that brings us to the end of our bulletin. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Sharon Chomdisha from the team and I. Have a lovely night and a blessed week ahead of you. Bye-bye.